Hi everyone, my name is Hannah Cooper, and the interview I did is with Michael Wynn, and he's the recruitment and retention manager for Seattle Teacher Residency. This program is close to my heart. I have recently applied and am hoping that I will get accepted for the summer 2021 program. So he's been the one I've been talking to. So first I'd like to explain what Seattle Teacher Residency is. It is a master's in teaching program that brings together Seattle Public Schools, the company actually that Michael works for is called Alliance for Ed, and what they do is they raise money for the Seattle Teacher Residency program. The program is unique because it is a 5-year commitment to Seattle Public Schools. It is aimed at social justice and anti-racist education and a commitment to urban schools and urban populations. So it's a different kind of master's and teaching credential program, but it is incredibly important for school districts like Seattle Public Schools that need culturally responsive teaching. So Michael's roles and responsibilities. He's the recruitment manager, so he is the one reaching out to all the interested parties. They usually have around 80 applicants, 80 to 85 applicants, and they can only offer a maximum of 30 teacher learners a position. It is an incredibly time-consuming program. It's 5 quarters, and some days are around 12 hours. So you're working in the classroom a school day from Monday through Thursday, Wednesday nights, and Fridays during the day you have um, teacher class, so learning how to teach. So he does the recruitment, which he does all over. He reaches out to Seattle Public School teacher aides. He's all over. He also mentors the teacher learners. On Wednesday before their block of classes, he holds kind of a cohort. Oh, it's down here. Cohort. Pardon me. Cohort check-in. During those check-ins, he offers his support and guidance, but also listens to how the teacher learners are feeling. So they're in the classroom with mentor teachers. They are essentially teaching with those mentor teachers, and then they're going on to learn their own master's content. So Michael is really the bridge between both of those worlds, and he is the main support system for the program, for teacher learners in the program. So this is cut off a bit, but his leadership style is coaching. His position allows him to advocate and support teacher learners, but not control their learning. So he really is there as a support. He engages most with the teacher learners. He doesn't teach individual master program classes. He's not one of the people who looks at our applications to decide who gets in, but he is only there to support, to lift us up, to make us better educators. He does the cohort debriefs, which I mentioned earlier. That's encouragement and support. Also, he's a retention manager. So the goal is a 5-year commitment so that teachers of quality, of diverse backgrounds are staying in Seattle Public Schools. And in order for him to make that aim for retention, he must understand how teachers are doing in their their school placements, but also when they go out into teaching. He's focused on empowerment in teacher education. If if teachers are only learning lecture style and they're not learning on the job and they're not learning through valuable discussion and community engagement, then they're really not learning what they need to become quality classroom educators. Data-driven decision making. I focused this, well, Michael mostly focused this on the data that has led to the construction of Seattle Teacher Residency. There are gaps in achievement in Title I underserved schools. There is a lack of diversity. In Washington State, only 10% of the educators, all grades, are people of color. That does not represent what the state population looks like, and that is unacceptable for a school district like Seattle Public School that has much more diversity. So the data that they use to really advocate for finding quality teachers of color and teachers of diverse experience is something they use the data for. They also, the STR mission is driven by data that teachers teaching in urban environments need. They need spectacular, specific training in order to serve their student population. So, so the program really focuses on abolitionist, anti-racist, culturally responsive, historically responsive education. It's teachers that are teaching in urban schools need more than here's how you teach the ABCs. You need here's how you teach the ABCs to learners that live in a different context. What's really cool about the STR program is that a living stipend is given to each teacher learner. This allows learners who have diverse experience in the field and know that this is what they want to do. That allows people like me who have been out in the working world, who need to make money, allow us to still get that master's, still become teachers, but also not having to give up an entire year of a salary. So it's really awesome. I wrote promised employment, but it's not 100% promised. If you are not a teacher of quality after your STR program, then you won't get a job at Seattle Public Schools. But more than likely, you will get a job. And I actually, during my application process, I talked to one of the principals at one of the Title I schools where there is an STR community, and she said that before the program's even done, they're offering most STR learners a job because the program is that good at preparing students. Learning experiences that their role provides. So Michael is not a teacher. He has been a classroom educator, so his experience is incredibly valuable for teacher learners. But what he is doing is he weekly is supporting teacher learners in their exploration of what their program is needing. So he helps build a contextual understanding of that role of teacher in the larger context. It helps that he is not one of the educators of the STR program, so that he can teach the learners on a level that is more supportive. He's found that really has allowed him to engage in a different level with the teacher learners, also understand their experiences on a much different level. He enhances classroom learning and experiential learning through the cohort sessions. Like I explained before, he's got this weekly meeting with each of the each of the cohorts, and basically a check-in. Assessment. So Michael, though he doesn't teach a class, his assessment is really focusing on what teacher learners are learning and how the program is best supporting them. So he sees teacher learners in an entirely different way than their instructors and their mentor teachers. So that is how he is able to assess mostly the program and what the program can do for each teacher learner. He uses retention as a metric to assess educator preparedness and program success for in-service educators. So that's meaning that through his work in teacher retention, he is really assessing what the program is preparing teachers for and if it's doing enough. He says so far he has seen incredible success, and it should be the model of the future. Optimism. So basically, Michael's entire career at Alliance for Ed is based on optimism. He was a he was a classroom educator. He taught 4th and 5th grade for 10 years in Seattle public schools. But through his move to Alliance for Ed, he really is more of a force in changing the overall experience of learners in Seattle public schools. So his whole career journey is driven by optimism and his optimism towards the future of public education. Advocate for teacher learners, that is essentially Michael Wynn's job. His role is as a teacher learner advocate. He has, like I said before, he straddles the middle between the instructors and the mentor teachers. He sees both sides, and he advocates and allows teacher learners to really bounce what they're learning off of him. Retention and recruitment are in his title, but he is invaluable support throughout the entire residency program and beyond. That is what I have talked to former teacher learners about, and they say this about Michael. So it continues to be a community after graduation. Oh, my aha moment cut off a bit. My aha moment, I was raised by a public educator. My dad was a 4th and 5th grade teacher, and then a continuation high school teacher, and then he became a principal. And what I learned talking to Michael about his career trajectory, also what he does now, is that you really don't need to be a classroom educator to make a major impact in public education. That's kind of what I always thought. I thought you start from the ground up and you build this community, and your classroom looks like what you want it to, and you have an effect on those 20 some odd kids a year. But what Michael's done with his career is really be an advocate and support for change in public education from the outside. He works for Alliance for Ed, which raises money in order to support the stipends for Seattle Teacher Residency. And Seattle Teacher Residency builds diverse, strong, quality educators into these Title I schools that make public education in Seattle better. So, here are my references. You can actually go to these if you like. They are incredibly interesting. If you're looking for a master's in teaching program and you want to live in Seattle, I highly recommend reaching out or just checking them out. Thank you so much.